Growing up, I had always had a love and passion for technology, and specifically, I grew fond of building PCs. Outside of Sonic, I actually do enjoy other things, odd I know, but I absolutely love building minimalist PCs, super flashy PCs. I mean, hell, here's my current PC. Rocking a RTX 4070 Ti Super and a Ryzen 7 5800X, this computer is a beast when it comes to running Sonic games at a locked 60 FPS. But aside from Sonic titles, this PC can run almost any esports title at a smooth 240 plus frames, and can easily put out enough power to crank settings to the max on more story-driven games without sacrificing a crisp 60 or sometimes 120 FPS at up to 4K. But about a week ago, I visited my mom at her job and found out that they had some office PCs that were wiped of any important files. And without hesitation, I asked about them, grabbed one, and immediately I had a goal in mind. Get Sonic Racing CrossWorlds and other titles running on this little PC as cheap as possible. And so, I got to work. But wait, before this video starts, I want to announce that I will be giving away a copy of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds to a member of my Discord. Hopefully I can get this out soon, but to take part, the link to my Discord is down in the description. Oh, and subscribe while you're at it. Any details regarding the giveaway will be announced there. Thanks, and let's get back to it. After getting the computer, going to crack this open was an interesting process, but it's very beginner friendly to clean and tinker with. The side panel slides off, front panel pops off, and the cage holding the hard drive and SSD butterflies open for easy access to drive bays and other components. Upon opening, I noticed right off the bat, this graphics card is old as it comes equipped with a GTX 750 Ti, and while a good card upon release, is now a snail racing against supercars. Unless you're using this solely for display output or to play older games, it is no use for me, so a newer GPU is an unavoidable upgrade. Next, the RAM. A single stick of 16 gigabytes of DDR4? Yeah, we aren't doing that. While 16 gigabytes is a good starting point for RAM, having a single stick wrecks performance. I think I'll be sticking to 16 gigabytes of dual channel RAM as to keep it budget friendly, as I really don't think I'll need much more for what I'm throwing at this retired office PC. So throw that in the ring, and that's only 2 upgrades needed to get this thing back on its feet. But with this being an office PC, some issues did arise. We're gonna start small to big. The first issue was the age of this computer. While the i7 7700 this is equipped with is a very good Intel chip, it is coming up on 9 years old. While this isn't a huge issue, it's definitely showing its age with more demanding titles being thrown at it. Number 2, having a hard drive and SATA SSD. While these are cheap storage solutions and honestly will do a lot of people fine, newer titles work best with lightning fast storage speeds. Unfortunately, mechanical hard drives and SSDs simply cannot keep up with NVMe SSDs, so some PCs, this one included, just cannot keep up with newer hardware, which leads me into my last and biggest issue: proprietary parts. Dell, HP, and Apple are notorious for using proprietary motherboards, power standards, and generally cheaper hardware to keep costs low and profits high, which is a big issue for me. CrossWorlds calls for a minimum of a GTX 1630 and recommends a 1660 Ti for an optimal experience. Well, if we take a look at the power supply, this thing is so ass that it doesn't even have a 6-pin PCIe connector. So now we are even more limited, as we need a card that pulls no more power than what the PCIe lane can supply, which is 75 watts. Thankfully, our options there aren't super limited, but it's definitely irritating. And I know there are alternatives like SATA to 6-pin, but I think I value my life. Oh well, with that out of the way, let's get into the build process. Getting this back into working condition was honestly a breeze. The RAM I ordered off Amazon for $37 after tax, a cheap 16 gigabyte DDR4 kit that is rated for speeds of 2666 megahertz. I could have gone bigger and faster, but I didn't want to run into compatibility issues, and it's cheaper. Now the GPU is a funny story. Realistically, my mind went to the RTX 3050, as that is the most powerful GPU that needs no external power. But once again, cheap, so that was out of the budget. Next idea, GTX 1650. It's a decent card for light 1080p gaming that allows some wiggle room if you want to crank some settings. I found one on Facebook Marketplace that was perfect. A low profile 1650 that takes up a single slot. This was perfect, and for the price they were asking, I couldn't pass them up. I immediately offered him $50, but he was willing to meet a bit closer, so I paid him $60. And this is where it gets funny. Now, I've sold a lot on Facebook Marketplace, but never bought. I expected to get my item, pay them, and have it be the item I wanted without having to double check. Silly old me. I park to meet the seller, come up to their car, they hand me the GPU, I hand them $60, and bro offered $10 back to me. I declined as he was very communicative and went out of his way to sell this. I got back in my car and checked it out. While a little dirty, it was in very good shape. It took me until I was installing graphics card drivers to check and see that I got boofed.
Oh.
I reached back out to the seller and he offered a full refund, which W seller for recognizing your mistake. While I did walk away with something I didn't expect, I appreciate the dude for understanding my frustration. But let's get back to the meat of the video, the build and setup. First step, side panel off. Front panel off, fillet that baby open, and now it's time to work. Old RAM out, new RAM in. Old GPU out, new GPU in. And we are done with the internals. Let's clean this bitch out. Time to clean out any surface dust, take off the CPU cooler. Live reaction, let's see how bad this thermal paste is. Ooh, that's not good. Wipe off old thermal paste, put on new thermal paste, put the CPU cooler back on, put that baby back together, and it's go time. Luckily, it already came loaded with a copy of Windows, so no need to install OS. First step, open Edge. Step 2, download Chrome. Install all my launchers. Every update that this computer missed, legit some were over 7 years old. Install our games and wham, a budget PC that didn't even run me $100. But looks and deals mean nothing without performance. So let's see how she runs, shall we? Well, of course, we gotta start with why you came here. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, and this game runs phenomenally. Do keep in mind, every game was benchmarked in 1080p as I figured you wouldn't be cranking the resolution on a 1630. Anyways, on all high settings with some settings off, you can get this running at a smooth 60 frames with little to no hiccups. Occasionally, there might be a stutter or two. I really can't tell if that's a hard drive issue or a hardware issue, but changing some more settings would more than likely guarantee a stable 60 FPS. Sonic Unleashed Recompiled is next, and once again, runs phenomenally. Setting shadows to low made the game run perfect. No stutters, hitches, or anything. Only concerning thing is the CPU temps, but taking off the side panel could circumvent this issue tenfold. Shadow generations ran somewhat well. Trying to target a locked 60 FPS at 1080p with no alteration to render scale was pretty much not going to happen. Most areas would hover around 60 or at 60, just for loads of particles and visual effects to happen, causing the frame rate to drastically drop down to around 40. Nothing that's unplayable, and at some moments makes it a little more cinematic, but at all low, we churned out an average of around 50 FPS, which is not too shabby for the experience. Sonic Superstars is up next, and to be honest, I figured this was going to run smooth as hell. Considering this game's recommended hardware, you could get this to run on anything. Zero complaints, no stutters, no hiccups, and honestly, I've never played this game, so I might come back around to check it out. Now, we've saved the best for last. Sonic Frontiers. This game was brutal. With everything at its lowest while still maintaining full 1080p resolution, Frontiers didn't play around. While netting an average of around 35 FPS, this number would have been a lot higher without dips causing the frame rate to drop to sub 30 FPS. If this is what you got to play Frontiers, absolutely more power to you. This is the first and only Sonic title in the roundup that performed very average. Now for a few non-Sonic games, as I assume you'll probably play other things on this. First off, Elden Ring. I'm no Souls game pro, so excuse my bad gameplay, but this game shockingly runs great. At 1080p on medium, it runs around a consistent 30 FPS, sometimes dipping a little below, but rarely dipping to where it's unplayable. The only noticeable dip I saw was from dying, so there's that. Next, GTA 5 Legacy. I would do enhance, but cranking some settings to high just bricked the game for me. Oh well, I ran the in-game benchmark tool at a mix of high to very high settings, and this little computer did much better than I expected. Honestly, it felt more like an average of 60 to 75 FPS, with some dips in the 50s and high 40s. This is beyond a playable experience, and with some tweaking of the settings, you can get this running up to potentially 90 FPS. Not too bad. I wanted to try Fortnite, but after changing some security settings within the PC, it freaked the game out. From what I recall, I could get as high as 144 frames, and would bounce around 120 on average, but subpar frame times cause this to be a jittery and stuttering mess. If it was capped at 60 or even 75, it would run phenomenally. Not bad at performance settings, and I wish I had gameplay, but I'm left empty-handed. So, would I recommend building a PC for only $100 to play CrossWorlds? Hell yeah, I do. I had so much fun not only getting to experience CrossWorlds early and on launch day through this PC, but to also turn what would become e-waste into a powerful mini gaming PC that I'll honestly be keeping around for a while. While not running games at max settings at 4K 120 FPS, it's nice to have a little setup that's light enough to bring anywhere and capable enough to do some serious local multiplayer gaming. But to all my friends, this ass whooping is mobile. Let me know when to pull up if you want the smoke. Anyways, thanks for watching, make sure to join the giveaway below, and I'll see you all soon.